So the heroic bard Orpheus was the son of the muse Calliope and Oeagrus, king of Thrace, though there were also traditions that claimed his father was the Olympian god Apollo. Orpheus was the greatest musician of his time, able to spellbind not just humans with his lyre, but also plants, animals, and even inanimate rocks. His skills were invaluable to Jason and the Argonauts, who he accompanied on their journey to retrieve the Golden Fleece. I'll probably make a video about those adventures at some point before the heat death of the universe. He also was said to have visited Egypt and learned the secret rites of Dionysus, which he then brought back to Greece and formed the Orphic mystery cults. This story was probably created to explain perceived similarities between Greek and Egyptian cult worship. Of course, by far the most famous story involving Orpheus was of his love for his late wife Eurydice. Unfortunately, Greek writers like Diodorus Siculus and Pseudo-Apollodorus only give us short summaries of this myth. The best and most detailed classical account comes from the Roman poet Ovid. On the day of Orpheus and Eurydice's wedding, Orpheus invited the marriage god Hymen, don't laugh, to attend. But once arriving, he couldn't manage to light his ceremonial torch, signaling bad omens for the bride and groom. Shortly after the wedding, Eurydice was walking in the grass with her naiad gal pals when she got bit on the ankle by a viper and immediately dropped dead. Orpheus was utterly crushed by the loss of his wife, and after realizing that his mourning would never end so long as they were separated, he resolved to get her back. He traveled all the way into the underworld and came before Hades and Persephone, or I guess it would have been Dispater and Proserpina, because Ovid was Roman. Orpheus then performed a passionate song, pleading with Hades to return Eurydice to the world of the living, reasoning that since all humans must spend eternity in the underworld, allowing them a few more fleeting years together shouldn't make much of a difference to the god of the dead. He also alluded to Dis and Proserpina's own romance to hopefully tug on the heartstrings a little. His song was so moving that all the tormented spirits of Tartarus stopped to listen, and not even the Furies could hold back tears. Dis then decided to allow Eurydice to leave the underworld with her husband, but not without a condition. Orpheus would have to lead the way back to the surface with his back to Eurydice at all times. And should he at any point in their journey turn around to look at her, she would have to return to the underworld. The two of them traveled silently all the way to the threshold between the lands of the living and dead. But just as he was about to pass through, Orpheus was overtaken by a sudden fear that Eurydice had fallen behind and gotten lost. And he turned around, only to watch his beloved wife disappear again into the shadows of the underworld, this time for good. Wallowing in a brand new wave of depression, Orpheus decided to officially swear off relationships with women, and instead focused his affections toward young boys. Gotta love those ancient Greeks. Imagine getting so red-pilled you become a pedophile. Anyway, 3 years after the loss of Eurydice, Orpheus put on an angsty concert for the local forest creatures, singing of handsome young men loved by the gods and women who were punished by the gods for their lustfulness. In doing so, he attracted the attention of a group of Maenads, female worshippers of Dionysus, who, in their Bacchic frenzy, became enraged at Orpheus for rejecting the love of women and tore him apart. And in death, his soul returned to the underworld to permanently reunite with Eurydice, making for a beautifully bittersweet ending to this tale. So, can we talk about that whole pedophile phase you went through?